If you watch this video from start to finish and you implement everything I tell you to implement, I can almost guarantee you this is going to 10 times your confidence. I'm not exaggerating. What if I told you, right? Say I told you as a friend that right now you should take your resume, put a bunch of lies, right? Say you worked in this job, apply for a sales job, and then you'll probably get it because you lied. If I told you that, your own brain will start getting triggered. Oh, this guy's horrible. It's criminal. He's a bad person. You'll start crying. Why is that? Because you know objectively in your brain deep down that they can't really be any negative consequences to this course of action. You're going to gain a bunch of experience. Even if you get fired, it doesn't change anything. You're fired, that's it. You don't get the job, that's it. The only thing that's going to be hurt is your self-esteem, which has been distracted. It's been vulnerabilized. What's the word? It's been vulnerable for a very, very long time. Now, why does this happen? Why are you so vulnerable compared to everyone else? Why are you such a little pussy? There are a couple things we're going to go through. This is the one I talk about all the time because it's such an important part of being a Muslim. Your family, your parents. Believe it or not, they are the reason that you are a pussy, most likely. There can also be other things like your teachers, your community, your friends, but your primary agents of connection are your parents. So I will give you some of my examples and I will relate it back to you as well. As a child, I've grown up in a very conservative environment back in Uzbekistan. It was like close by after the fall of the Soviet Union. So it's a lot of chaos. Everybody is on survival mode. Everybody always told me, that's unsafe. Went to school, I want to participate in this. No, you can't do it, you're going to fail, you're going to embarrass everyone, you're going to embarrass yourself, you're a pussy. I want to do this sport, right? I try it, like swimming or whatever. My coach or teacher tells me, you're horrible. Like if you're going to be that trash, don't do it. Those things, right? Like when people tell you can't be anything, you can't do this, you can't take risks, you fail. They, in a weird subconscious manner, stick to your brain. It's what Freud talks about. There's conscious brain and there's unconscious brain. When you hear these things as a child, they stick like glue to the unconscious part of your brain. And the thing about the unconscious is you don't realize it's controlling you, but you every single decision you make will be somewhat impacted by your unconscious brain. So this is a very, very big takeaway because so many things happen in your life that you never dealt with. You just kept saying, oh, well, it happened, but it's because of this, and you never really broke it down and overcame it. So instead of disappearing, your brain just put it back at its back door chamber. And those memories, those thoughts aren't really accessible to you, and yet they will influence all the decisions you make, even up to now. Another thing, most Muslims around the world, most of us live in survival mode. I'll explain what that means. So survival mode is when you are basing all your efforts purely just so you can have a job, you have a bit of food, you have a roof over your head, and you got to be happy. And they use religion to sort of push this. They will say, oh, you have to be grateful to Allah. So you have to say Alhamdulillah for everything you have. And by extension, what that tells you in an unconscious way is that if you strive for better, then in a way you are saying you're not grateful for what you have and you are ungrateful to Allah. This is how these things grip you. Do you understand? So it's going back to the whole unconscious part. Now, we live in a world now that's designed to thrive, get rich, become like famous. So there's so many opportunities. It's insane. But Muslims, specifically the Muslim parents, have grown up in an environment where that wasn't possible. where survival was genuinely like the best thing you could ask for. You don't want to be a millionaire. You just want to make money, spend it on food, have a roof over your head, and that was like success. Like that, like in the era that they grew up, that was like the most beautiful way to be. And that's fine. And pretty much many nationalities have went through that. But the difference between us and other nations, other races, ethnicities, is they move forward in time. So their parents might come from a world where survival was the best thing they could do, but they don't force the kids, their offsprings, to follow the same mentality. And the offsprings don't have this thing in their brain where they're like, oh, if I don't listen to my parents for my whole life, I'll go to hell, which is not true. So they will have we have these ideas where we think that we need to be really safe, survival mode, and that also entails repeating the patterns that our parents did because we perceive it as more safe. And plus you got the religion, and plus you got the parents being insecure and controlling. It just fits everything. Like the whole thing makes us stuck in time. So everything you've learned throughout your life has conditioned you to survive. And you know what? In survival situations, being a bit insecure, being afraid that, oh, what if I fail? What if I lose all my money? What if the business fails? It's a good thing. Because in those environments, one mistake could cause your entire family to starve, for you to lose your house, right? So of course, you shouldn't take risks in that environment. But in the world we live in at least in the West, I will say, and plus in most Muslim countries as well, it's not that bad. Like a household can survive off 2 incomes. You have 5 people in one house, 2 people can survive, 2 people can work, and everybody can survive. Same with one individual person, like someone like me. I can go out and get like a regular job, just like anybody else can get, and I can just live by myself, right? If everything fails, I start a business, everything fails, I can still survive. I get a job, get a rent, and I'm saving money, I'm buying food. Like it's not that difficult. I know everybody goes crazy about the cost of living and whatnot, but I'm telling you, it's not as bad as it was before, and it's still very easy to survive and thrive in this environment. So it's designed for us to thrive. That's what capitalism is. Capitalism allows you to create businesses, create your own financial entities, and still survive. We also live in democracy, like free speech, which is not always a good thing, but those things allow us to live true to who we are and our own ambitions. We don't have to constantly be in survival mode like our parents were, but we are. And that's what's holding us back. We're stuck in time. How are you ever going to succeed if you're stuck in time? Most Muslim families, when they move to the West, instead of trying to start businesses and get rich, they just try to like hold on to every dollar they can, right? They're like, oh, I'll buy my car for $3,000, or like it's rent 300,000 kilometers. Who cares? They get this car, they get like a rental in the cheapest part of the town. It's great. They're just saving all the money, but then they will make some really stupid decision and they will lose it all anyway. That's the thing, because initially when I was talking about saving money, you might have been thinking, oh, that's a good thing because then you can invest and stuff, right? Yes, but most of the Muslim parents aren't thinking about investing. What they're thinking about is mortgaging this, like maybe the BMW or something, mortgaging this house, and it's instead of having a comfortable life, they make their lives uncomfortable, and then they spend all the money, the BS money, on something that's completely unnecessary, like interest, for example. That's very common, and like maybe expensive clothes, like Gucci clothes, BMW, unnecessary luxury. That's not wealth. Wealth is not having to work. Wealth is retiring your entire family bloodline. But they don't care, they just want the image. You understand? Like they don't care, they just want to survive and they want to look like they're rich. That's all they want in life. But this is a big problem. In fact, I have an example. One of my friends, I'm not going to reveal his identity because maybe he doesn't want to be known, but what he told me is he saved up a bunch of money when he was young. Saved up, I think it was like $20,000. It was pretty impressive because he was young. He was saving for a good investment. We have a young man, pretty young, who is on an incredible path, so much potential, could potentially become a millionaire in the next few years if he invests in the right things. Easy. When he told his parents, because he wanted to feel like they're proud of him, Dad, look how I actually saved that $20,000 or $30,000. It's really incredible. Alhamdulillah, I'm so happy. I worked so hard for it. His dad's like, oh, nice, that's cool. Next day, his father's sitting there and says, you know that 20 or 30,000? It's actually going to be really good for the house we're building back in our home country. We can afford a new room in there. We can afford a new bathroom. Look at this, look at that. So they are hindering the growth of themselves and the kids and you at the same time. And that's very, very brutal, bro. That's how you keep the entire family in slavery. By the way, this mentality is literally derived from slaves. So like back in the day, not too long ago, there were like families who were just slaves, right? They didn't do anything. And in those slave countries, they never thought about succeeding. They're just saving out every piece of food they could find. And the slaves didn't disappear. Their mentality stayed. People weren't slaves anymore, but the mentality still stayed. So the lower class, this is something that the higher class will never talk about, but the lower class will constantly sacrifice their bodies, their work for nothing. Just throw it all away in the river. And that's slavery, that's slave mindset. The people at the top, probably most likely, I'm not generalizing, but the people at the top, the rich people, their ancestors probably weren't slaves. They were like slave owners, they were rich people. And they know that what to invest on. This is where this whole concept of rich dad, poor dad comes from. And most Muslims, because there's been so much war and like a bunch of other things, most Muslims have been stuck in the slave mindset. And that's the way it is. I might be offending a lot of people, but at the end of the day, this is the truth. So this whole time I've been diagnosing the problem of what's going on. Now I'm going to move on to the more important part, which is what the hell can we even do about it? This is where it gets a little bit tricky, but Uncle Boris will take care of that whole thing, trust me. Now, this is the tip I'm going to give you for today. There's going to be a lot more tips in the future, but for this specific podcast, I'm going to give you the best tip that I found for myself. It's going to sound pretty stupid, but trust me, just follow this for the next few months and you're going to see a huge difference in your life. I was watching a TV show like a little while ago. Actually, when I would have been like 16 or 17, I was pretty young. I'm watching Rick and Morty. There is a part where Rick kills a bunch of cockroaches. It's like, Pickle Rick, you know that meme? He's been minimized, but then he kills a bunch of cockroaches. He just beats them all up. And then as soon as he beats them up, it's like, he uses their nerves to enhance his own body. And then he's like, God damn, I love myself. And that part stuck with me. I was like, bro, that part? Like, I was like, yo, I've never heard anyone talk like that. That's beautiful. Since then, it's just been like a subconscious thing. Anytime I did anything that's even 1% impressive, and this is something you might have seen in my live videos, I'll say something really cool, I'll connect the dots that are like really genius, in a really genius way, and I'll be like, oh man, I'm such a genius. I'll say, oh man, I'm such a Chad, I'm such a G. I'll just say that anytime I do anything remotely impressive. And I've done that like in everything. And say when we're like sparring and like I do like a really cool throw on someone, I'll do like amazing takedown, and I'll be like, oh, god damn, I love myself. And just by saying that, what the hell is this? Just by saying that, my self-esteem, my self-confidence grew every single day. Now you're going to listen to this and you're going to think, that's so stupid. I'm so much smarter than this Boris guy. He's such a retard. This is not going to help my confidence. Bro, the thing with your brain is right now, it thinks that it's above everything, above everyone, above the small things. That's exactly what's going to keep you broke and poor and have a low self-esteem. The small things change everything. Because think about this. When your teachers told you that you're a loser, when your parents, your coaches, when people tell you these things, that you're a loser, that you can't do something, It's not a big thing. It's a small like remark, but think about the impact it's had on your life up to now. It's completely changed the trajectory of your life. You could have been a millionaire by now. So what makes you think that small things like this won't have the opposite impact and go to your subconscious mind and make you think that you deserve more than you actually deserve? When I started doing this, I started doing things that I was like, why am I doing this? There's no way I would have thought that I'm able to do that, but why am I doing this? I'll give you a very good example. Maybe a couple of years ago, I was broke. I wasn't broke, I had like some apartments and whatnot, but I didn't have a stable job because I lost mine. I think I was working in construction or something. So I was like, how can I get a job? And every time I went online, I would apply for like kitchen hand, retail, those like generic jobs, minimum wage. And I couldn't really get anything. I wasn't getting any of them. That's when I thought, why don't I apply for something that's a bit more like difficult, that requires a bit more skill, because less people actually apply for those jobs. That's when I searched up sales representative. It said you need this much experience, this. I didn't have any. But because I read so many sales books and watched so many sales videos in my spare time just for fun, I had a feeling that I would be able to do it. It's just something that I thought. So I lied on my resume and I got a sales job, which changed the trajectory of my life. It made me a whole bunch of money. Now, why would I think that I'm able to do it when it clearly says you need experience? Because whether you want to admit it or not, you wouldn't have the balls to do that. You'd be like, oh no, I'll embarrass myself, I get fired, like why would I apply for that, right? It sounds crazy, it sounds stupid. But because my self-esteem has gone so high because I kept complimenting myself randomly, I had this like unknown power. I was like, I can do this. Like I can't explain why, but trust me, I can do this. And that's because every single time I told myself, oh, I'm such a G, I'm such a genius, it was implanted into my subconscious mind. And that caused me to say yes to that. In the same way that the negative feedback I got in my life made me say no to so many amazing opportunities in the past. Do you understand the power of this? Do you understand that this is going to change the whole trajectory of your life? I know it sounds dramatic, but just hear me out. Every single time from now on, after watching this podcast, you do anything remotely impressive. Let's say, for example, you like go to gym and you lift, like you get a new PR, like a deadlift, like a bench press. As soon as you do that, I'm such a Chad. I'm such a G. Just say it. And you'll be surprised. You think people around you be like, oh, this guy's arrogant. But if someone listens to you, like there's like a friend next to you, they're going to laugh and they're going to start liking you more. And they're going to start doing the same thing. It's contagious. You're going to change. You're going to have so much positive impact on your life and others' lives just by doing this one easy thing. Isn't that incredible? And you can apply this to other things, right? You say you get a good grade in university or whatnot. You studied hard, you submitted the assignment, you got an A+, or like an A or B+, or whatever. As soon as you see that, you just say, I'm such a genius. It's too easy, man. Get this out of here. It's too easy. In fact, I used to say this exact thing back when I had the sales job. It was actually really funny because like I would be sitting with a lot of my friends and I would have some bad days for a while, and like there would be a day where I get like no sales the entire day, and like everybody gets like 2 or 3 sales, right? And then I would get one sale at like 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. And as soon as I get it, I'd be like, yeah, thank you very much. You made the right decision, my friend. I will hang it up, look at my friend and be like, bro, it's too easy. Like, oh, these leads are too easy. Give me a harder job. It's too easy. And then everybody would like, find it funny as they would like really start liking me, and I was like the life of the place. Everybody thought it was hilarious. And as soon as I said that, I was like, man, this is too easy, bro. The next phone I picked up, I just kept selling it. So I would get like more sales than them. Just like sale. Because I would just keep saying it's too easy, and my brain would think, yeah, it is too easy. And then because my brain thinks that, the customers are like, oh, it must be a good decision. It sounds too easy. Bro, self-hypnosis. It's genius. I should have charged like $10,000 for this advice. Why am I telling you this for free? Subhanallah, bro. It's so easy to rewire your brain. But obviously, many of you people probably want more advice. So I'm going to be making a lot more videos similar to this. I actually have a few in mind already, some other tips I can give you. So if you want to get more advice like this, if you want to improve yourself, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the channel, Instagram, wherever you are watching this from. And in the next few days, I'll be releasing a lot more videos like this. So if you enjoy this, you're going to really like what's coming up, inshallah.